Alright, sorry about that. I need to do a Windows tutorial and I accidentally exposed some information I didn't want to expose. So, 11 IoT LTSC Windows. If you are trying to update a computer to 11 that is ineligible, you have a few options. Now, if you're on Linux like I am and you need to reinstall Windows on a computer without access to Windows, which is often the case for me, what I do is if I have a Windows computer, I would use like education or enterprise and just write the USB with Rufus with all those workarounds enabled. But there exists now a better option, and what it is if you go to massgrave.dev, there, I can't link it, but if you go to the Massgrave website, they have what's called Windows 11 IoT LTSC. Now, if you know anything about 10 LTSC, which gets updates until 2032. 11 LTSC gets updates till 2025, security updates. It does not get feature updates at the same time as everybody else. You have to wait until the next build of LTSC to come out. This is supposed to be more for embedded devices like ATMs or kiosks or something. But what you do get with it is a very stripped down version of Windows. It still has some bloat, but nearly none at all. And this is very good if you're, say, using a netbook, where you have like 64 gigs of eMMC or something. You may need an install of Windows that will run on 64 gigs, and LTSC is by far the least bloated one. So it's very useful for people with small drives or small partitions or whatever, and they just need Windows to work on it. And they don't plan on having a whole lot of programs or files installed. So when you go to this website though and you download Windows 11 IoT LTSC, the reason you may want this is if you're using something like Ventoy, where if you're on Linux and you need to write a Windows USB, the best way to do that now is through Ventoy. And the problem is because 11 has a secure boot requirement, you're not able to write a normal Windows 11 ISO with Linux currently. You have to use some other method that I don't know about. But with Ventoy, as long as you can disable secure boot, IoT LTSC does not require secure boot to be enabled, which is important. It also doesn't have the 4 GB of RAM requirement, which is better, or which is good for old laptops that you may need put on 11. And it also doesn't have the TPM2 requirement. So again, for laptops that did not ship with a fingerprint scanner, that's important. So what's cool about it though is, or sorry, so I end up using it a lot if I'm like refurbing computers. I'll just put LTSC on it. And now the problem though with LTSC is you cannot actually buy a license for it because the only way to get it licensed is volumetrically. So you do need to like spend thousands and thousands of dollars in order to get a license. So what you do is instead is because Microsoft has a PowerShell activation method, you can use hardware activation, and the Massgrave website will show you how to do that too. They have a PowerShell script. Their new one doesn't work right now, but their old one's being deprecated in like 20 days, so I don't know. But anyways, I just ran their backup script and it was able to hardware ID activate the computers I was using it on. So technically, if you want to get into it, this is technically piracy, but who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Because here's the thing about like especially gray market Windows is when somebody like Tech Syndicate sponsors a gray market Windows key thing where you get Windows 10 OEM for $13 and it works on one set of hardware, and if you change out your motherboard, your key is invalid. That's not supposed to happen. These keys are given out to like businesses to activate all their computers. So if you're buying one, that means in some way it has been stolen and it is therefore a gray market key. These keys can be technically be revoked at any time, and actually the only time I did buy one, the first thing I had to do was I had to contact Microsoft support because it wouldn't activate, and I had to get them to unlock the key. So be prepared for a bit of hassle if you decide to go with that kind of thing. Personally, I'd say PowerShell activation is just fine. Just use hardware ID activation. It can't be revoked. If it could, you can just run the activation again. It's so easy, and that way you're not supporting illegal businesses, or at least ones that break Microsoft's terms of service, and you're also not paying for Windows, which you shouldn't do anyways. But LTSC, you especially have to use it because there is no way to get a key for it. You just can't buy one. They won't sell it to you. So, yeah, that's kind of where I am right now. I've set up an 11 LTSC ISO on my Ventoy for use on like old computers or computers that need to be updated or whatever. I'm thinking I do need to upgrade this one computer, and it's gonna be super sketchy. I'm so scared to do it, but I need to eventually. I need to fix this computer eventually, and I'm scared to do it because it's gonna cost like a day of downtime or something. But anyways, I'll work on that. All right, thanks.